Hey miners, Mining King here. Today I'm going to kind of do a refresh of a video I did a while ago. It was one of my first recordings and the quality wasn't that great. So this video is going to be about how to install Hive OS on a SATA SSD. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright guys, so the first thing you're obviously going to need is going to be a SATA SSD. Now, I know some companies like GPUrisers.com, they have their own SSDs and all that stuff, but I'm telling you, you're going to overpay for that. $30 for a 64 gigabyte SSD. This is $120 for $20. It's $10 cheaper. So just be careful about that. Don't buy SSDs from your favorite mining companies because you will overpay. Unless you feel like supporting those people, then you're more than welcome to do that. But $20 Amazon for a PNY 120 gig SSD. All right. So you're gonna need this. Now, this is a tool I recommend you get. You don't need it to do it, but this makes everything a lot faster. So I have a USB to SATA SSD enclosure right here. So this way we don't have to sit there and like actually open up the computer and take things apart and put it all back together again. So this just makes it easier. I mean, you don't have to get this. This was also $20 on Amazon. I just like it because it's just easy. You just plug it in USB, you flash it, and then you're done. So it just makes life easier is all. You don't have to have that. You could just use your home computer and just unplug one of your SATA cables and your SATA power and just do it that way. This just makes it easier for me, in my opinion. So those are the things you need. And then you might be wondering, oh, why do you have this next to you? Well, so this was I wouldn't say old, but this was my gaming rig. I've recently done a custom water loop, gaming rig. So I just built that computer. So this was what I was gaming at. It has a 3600X in it. It's a B450 board. It does have an AIO. It has 32 gigs of DDR4. So it has a lot of good features. It has an 850 watt power supply. So yeah, it's a great machine. But I'm thinking about this is kind of like my backup PC in case, because I did have some issues with my loop. So I do like having a backup PC that I could use to game on or do my daily things on. Um, but I want to use it as like a test bench for like doing Hive OS stuff. So I'm going to install Hive OS and then I'm going to put it on that SSD and then I will keep it in this and I'll switch out the boot manager so that way I can either boot into Windows or I can boot into Hive. So this will have Hive and Windows. And then I'll just go in the BIOS and I'll just switch which hard drive is actually going to be booted on. So that's the plan. Is we're going to make this a test rig because I just got in a MSI Mech 6600. So that video will also be coming up in the future. So, all right, guys. Well, let's get right into it. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to have to get a program called Balena Etcher. I will leave a link down below, as well as links for all the parts that I have here, like the PNY and the USB to SATA, SSD. I'll leave all links in the description down below for that. As well as if you like my content, please like, share, and subscribe. All right, let's get back into what we're doing. So the first thing we need to do is we need to download Balena Etcher. So this is what we're going to use to flash the Hive OS image onto our SSD. So we're going to download this. And so when it gets done downloading here, what I like to do is I just like to do it because sometimes you might need to extract it. So let's go back up to our downloads here. Okay, so now that it's downloaded, now what we need to do is just double click on it and we're just going to install it just like a regular Windows program. So you're just going to click I agree. You're going to install. Okay, so now we actually have this is what the Balena Etcher program will look like. So you can see flash from file. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go get our Hive, our Hive OS image here. So we're going to go over to Hive OS, and we're going to say we need to install, and then so then you come over here to the GPU side. This is for ASICs and the ASIC hub. So then you're going to want to, I always just download the zip file. So you just click on the zip, and then it's going to download. So now that it is done downloading, now what we need to do is go to our downloads, which we're here, and then we need to right click, and then we're going to go over here to 7-zip, which I will leave a link in the comment down below for 7-zip, because Windows zip and extract does not always recognize all types of files and things like that. So I recommend getting 7-zip. So I'll leave a link in the comment down below. So you're going to click extract files here, and then we're going to click OK. And then it made the image. So now what we're going to do is now that we have our image, okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click flash from file, okay. We're going to go to our downloads. We're going to go to our Hive OS image that we unzipped, by the way. Make sure it is unzipped. Then we're going to click open, and then we're going to select a target. So give me 1 sec. I'm going to crack this thing open, and then we'll get it plugged into the computer. Okay guys, so I have the USB and I have the SSD in it, and I turned it on. So the next thing you're going to want to go to is you're going to want to go to create and format disk partition, okay? So once you get to create, format, and disks partitions, you're going to want to come over here and right click, and then go to new simple volume. Okay, we'll click next, next, and if you want to give it a different letter, you can give it whatever the heck you want, or call it whatever you want. I just leave it at there. Here, I'll just put, so it's easier, let's put Hive, and then I'm just going to, and then it's going to do its formatting, and there it is. So super quick. It's only 120 gigs. Goes by really quick. So now that we can close that out, okay. So once again, I'm going to come back here to our Balena Etcher, which I already showed you where to find the file, okay. So now we're going to select our target, which is going to be our SSD right here, 120 gig SSD. Then we're going to click select, and then we're going to click flash. So now this will take some time, depending upon your hardware, whether you have USB 2.0 or 3.0, all your times and speeds will vary, okay? It's all done now. So now what we need to do is we need to go back to our, so you're probably going to have to unplug and replug the SSD back in for it to pop up in Windows, so just give me 1 second. All right, so all I did was just turn the USB converter off and back on, and now it'll come up here in Windows. So then you want to come over here, okay? And now this is, so then we're going to pull up, we're going to double click on this Rig.Config example. So this right here is going to be, this is what you need to set up your rig, right? So you're going to have to come back to your Hive OS. Okay. Now, this particular part I cannot show you because this is my personal farm hash code. So for this part, you will not be able to follow me with, because if I give you this information, then you'll be able to steal my rig. So, and my farm and all that stuff. So I'll just put it back here on my normal just image here, so you can just see me and also keep talking. So when you click on settings in Hive OS, what will happen is you will see your farm name, and then you will see a farm hash. So now if you don't have a farm hash, you need to go to Hive OS and start your Hive OS account first, so that way you have a farm hash. because this is how all your rigs, every time that you flash an SSD, if you use this farm hash, these rigs will show up in your farm. Okay, so all you have to do is just highlight the farm hash, which is a bunch of random letters and numbers, and you just Control C, and then what you're gonna do in your rig config file is where it says farm hash, you're going to do Control B. Okay, so there, it just came up. Now, so the next thing that we'll do is, and I'll go back to my display mode here. I'm going to blur out my farm hash. So the next thing you could do is you could set a rig password, or you could make a worker name. I'm just going to put Hive test. I'm going to use make sure to use underscores and no spaces. Hive test. Okay, and then you need to read these instructions at the top here, and this is what it says. This is a starting example for your rig.config file. So this is when it starts up. This is how it loads up. Okay, so optimally you can put a rig ID and password if you want. I'm not gonna do that, so you don't have to do that. So now the main thing is when you're done with this, okay, you have to save this file a specific way. So you're gonna click Save As, okay, and then you need to type rig.config, because this is gonna make it a config file. Now it's very important because people always miss this part. Is down here it says Save As Type as a document. No, you need to click All Files and then click Save. Okay. Now that should have changed the file type. Now, as you can see down here, we now have a rig.config file. See, and even on the type of file over here, it says rig config. Okay, so we have successfully flashed Hive onto the SSD. Now it's time for me to unhook some stuff on my computer and get this SSD in here, and then we're gonna boot it up and see if we can't get into Hive. All right, guys, so we're in Hive now. So as you can see, it came up. It came up as Hive Test Bench, which is the name that we did give it. So you just click on it, and as you can see, there's no miner set. It has a missing flight sheet, so obviously it hasn't started mining anything. So as well as you see, it has a GTX 750 Ti. The only reason I have that is because this is a AMD CPU, so there is no onboard graphics, so I needed a discrete graphics card in order to switch the boot manager on the system, so that way it would boot into Hive. So it's just a test card. It's only a 2 gig card, so it's not mineable. So anyways, guys, that's the video. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments down below. Please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, the Mining King is here to give you the most hashes. I'll see you next time.